So much to talk about with the Super Bowl matchup set. We have everything today. Rob Gronkowski, off no sleep from the West Coast, flew here to celebrate this. Everything going on. I'm here live at the New York Stock Exchange on a very special day, a historic one, in fact. We are celebrating and cheering on and Good Vibes Central with Flutter. What is Flutter? Flutter is the parent company of Fanduel, which you know and love and have partnered with. And Flutter today, this morning, had their listing day. They landed in the U.S. market. It is so exciting. Flutter, the global leader in online sports betting and igaming. And we're just going to celebrate all day long here on Wall Street. It is a listing day party on Up and Adams Takes Over Wall Street. That's Peter Jackson, front and center, the CEO of Flutter. I got to meet him in London a couple months ago. We were there for the international series, and we talked about how exciting this day would be. Right next to him, of course, Amy Howe, the brilliant, badass CEO of Fanduel, and she'll be joining me here on set. Rob Gronkowski will be here as well. I just dropped my earpiece, so let me get this so I can plug her in, and we can talk about a little football. We've got the Super Bowl matchup set, of course, but I do just want to say congratulations to everyone involved. I'm talking about 25,000 employees globally, worldwide, and a big day of history, a big testament to all those people doing that, and a real sign of exciting times ahead. I can't believe we're invited to this. It's so special. We'll have GRONK on. We'll say hi to Amy Howe as well. She'll sit down, but it is really incredible stuff to celebrate. But I do want to get to the game. So it's a really proud day here at the company, and if you're an NFL fan, you are looking full steam ahead to Las Vegas and what's going to happen 2 weeks from now between the San Francisco 49ers, who somehow did it. Did I fall asleep at halftime? Maybe. Did I wake up and catch the second half? I certainly did. Of course, the Chiefs, who just live at the Super Bowl. That's what they do week in, week out. But we want to talk about the NFC Championship game. It was one of those 28-3 vibey things. The Niners went into halftime down 24-7 before scoring 27 straight points in the second half to absolutely stun the Lions and their fans. And yeah, they're making their 8th Super Bowl appearance in franchise history now. We get a rematch of Super Bowl 54, which of course was Patrick Mahomes' first Super Bowl, and when they took down the Niners, and it got Andy Reid and Patrick their first ring. So if you look over at Fanduel Sportsbook, as we are celebrating all things Fanduel and Flutter here today, the Niners, Fanduel had them as 2.5-point favorites. It's already moved to 1.5 for San Francisco. But as for the game, this was gut check time. Are they allergic to NFC North teams in the first half? Maybe. We all know the narrative out there on this Niners squad and the Shanahan team has always been get out in front of them because they cannot come back on you. And the Lions executed perfectly in the first half. But since these playoffs have started, this team has sort of changed it up. We got to give them some credit here on the Monday morning at the New York Stock Exchange here. They come back last week to take down the Packers, of course. And then what they did last night, that was the stuff of legends. Brock Purdy, Shanahan, we see you. Things could not have been worse. But then Brock, second half, brilliant, arm fine, the legs. Stop talking about hand size when he's got the legs that change the game like that. Debo, our friend of the show, total problem last night. He had 98 total yards, 96 total yards. CMC looks stronger and stronger. This kid is just built the way he's built. He knows how to run. He does not go down. So after a brutal first half, the defense came up with a bunch of clutch stops in the second half to give the offense a chance to come back. And I want you guys to listen to Brock Purdy after the game talking about what went on at halftime before the remarkable, stunning comeback.
Been in crazy situations, and so everyone was like, all right, we just got to do our job straight up. Like, the offense has to move the ball. We got to put up points, convert on third downs, defense, get some stops for us. And that was really about it. There wasn't really much said. Kyle said a couple things, Fred said a couple things, but we kept it simple. And so went out, we all knew what we had to do. Season's on the line, we're down 17. So I think everybody stepped up, and when we played really good complementary team football from there.
All the teams.
Okay, so there was no Mighty Duck / Gordon Bombay moment. It sounds like their belief just didn't waver despite getting punched in the mouth early. It really is giving me Belichick, do your job, 28-3 vibes. Like, they never doubted themselves. And I've tried to say this all year. This Niners team is much different than any other squad that we've seen under Kyle Shanahan. And they proved it last night, winning the type of game everybody tried to say that they couldn't win. On the Lions side, my heart goes out to Lions fans all the way from Calvin, Megatron, down to Richard Issacha's kids, who I'm sure were rooting for this team to finally get it done, as he's a Lions fan and was at the game last week. Now, this is as tough as it gets. They've waited so long for the moment. There are some questionable decisions from Dan Campbell, of course. The world is talking about them this morning, going for it when you could have gone up by 3 scores, kicking the field goal in some key moments in the second half. That was brutal, but it's who he is. He stayed that way. I don't know what the lesson is from him, but it was the first thing, of course, he was asked about after the game.
I don't regret those decisions, and that's hard. It's hard because, we didn't come through. It wasn't able to work out, but I don't. And I understand the scrutiny I'll get. That's part of the gig, man. But, we just didn't work out.
Okay, we'll talk to Gronk. Gronk will be here on set. He's somewhere shaking hands, kissing babies, I'm sure. Actually, he's right here. There, I see Gronk right there. We're going to get his opinion on some of these decisions. I will say this. As nightmarish as this was, it's a young team. They're going to be a factor here as long as Coach Campbell is running the show. Maybe he'll learn some lessons. I'm curious to see how that'll evolve with Goff under center. This was a season for Detroit to be very proud of. They not only met the expectations of the hype in the NFC North, but they almost got themselves to a Super Bowl, and they will. Now, Chiefs-Ravens, for the 4th time in the last 5 years, here they are headed again to the Super Bowl. Gronk knows a thing or two about dynasties. We'll talk to him. And we saw a little bit of everything in this, okay? We saw the absolutely wild, superhuman plays from Mahomes and Lamar early. It was ultimately, though, the Chiefs defense that decided this one. Kansas City picked up 4 sacks, you guys, 3 takeaways. They had 2 in the end zone, and they held the explosive Ravens offense scoreless on 8 straight possessions after Lamar's ridiculous early touchdown pass to Zay Flowers, who my heart goes out to. And he's a bright player, bright future. He's going to learn a lot from this one as well. I said it in September. If the Chiefs are going to repeat this year, it's going to be because of the defense. And man, they just continue to deliver. But this was another level yesterday. They saved their best game of the year for the AFC Championship game, and it was like a Spags masterclass. They're wearing T-shirts and Spags, we trust, the whole thing. That's not to say Mahomes wasn't brilliant in his own right either. He was up to some, classic Mahomes hijinks for sure, making some impossible, freakish plays. But once again, it was all about managing the game. He talked about it after the game. He was efficient. He completed 77% of his passes. He set an NFL record 6 straight playoff game without an interception. And even though the Chiefs didn't score a point in the second half, because that Baltimore defense was on fire, they closed it out when they needed to in the 4th quarter. And here's Patrick talking about what I asked of him to just be this game managing, I know I can be a superhero, but I'm going to let my defense do it. He says it better than I do. Here he is.
Obviously, and whenever they're rolling like that, I have to kind of manage my game. That's stuff that I've learned throughout the season is even if we're not having the success that I want to have, the defense is rolling and getting stops. Let's just take the safe choice, get the ball out of my hand, don't turn the ball over, and let's go win a football game.
They're not doing things the same old way. They're adapting, and I can't say enough about that and how important it is. The personnel has changed, and once again, the Chiefs are headed to a Super Bowl because they're able to adapt and adjust in-game throughout the weeks. I mean, Travis Kelce 5 weeks ago did not look like the one we saw yesterday, emotional after this win on the way to another Super Bowl. We'll talk about the Ravens side with Rob. He'll be here after the break, but this was about as devastating as it gets for Baltimore, okay? Even with Lamar having some struggles, they had every opportunity to get back into and win this game. They had so many chances, and they kept making bad mistakes after bad mistake, critical ones. You have to play a clean game if you want to beat Kansas City on any day. Committing 5 absolutely flagrant, I'm kind of annoyed, flagrant personal fouls, right? Personal foul penalties, and coughing the ball up twice in the end zone. That can't happen. Now, I feel for Lamar. Lamar pressed a lot, too much. It seemed like the weight of the moment might have been a factor for the whole team because it did mean that much. And here is Lamar talking about the vibe in the locker room after the game.
I mean, we mad. Like, I understand, coach gonna give a speech, that's his job, but we mad. We got to this position, one game away from the Super Bowl that what I've been talking about, my team been talking about all season, and we fell short. And like I said, offense, we didn't put nothing on the board. We scored once. That's not like us, We drove the ball down the field, that's cool, but we got to put points on the board. But I feel like my team just angry, Not frustrated, we just angry because we know how hard we worked to get here.
Odell was comforting him on the sidelines. Zay Flowers, of course, probably not feeling great this morning. The defense played so well. They had so much going for them. It was their year, and it didn't happen. How do they rebound? That is the story heading into next season, and hopefully we see that, but this is going to hurt for a long time. I know these are sort of trite things everybody on Twitter is saying and those sort of takes, so Rob's going to fill in the blanks here. Rob Gronkowski is joining us after the break live here at the New York Stock Exchange. It is Up and Adams celebrating the listing day for Flutter, our parent company on Wall Street. Here's Gronk with some cheerleaders. He hasn't slept at all. Rare form Gronkster next. That's Rob Gronkowski, who's sitting right next to me, but he was down here ringing the bell for Flutter's listing day here in the U.S. market. How cool is this to be a part of?
This is really cool to be a part of, and that's why I love being part of the Fanduel team, because they have so many cool experiences for us, doing the Kick of Destiny, being able to do the campaigns with the commercials, and then here they brought a marching band, cheerleaders. I mean, they were playing tunes. I was waving the flag back and forth. Flutter is now on the New York Stock Exchange, which is just extraordinary, but I love Fanduel. I love being a part of it, and let me tell you, it felt like a game day atmosphere out here today. People were screaming left and right, cheering, so just grateful, to be a part of it.
Wolf of Wall Street vibes. People just hand you a football and say, spike it. How often does that happen to you?
It happens basically everywhere I go when I'm in the public. People want to see things spiked, especially when I'm on a microphone. Everyone wants to see a microphone get spiked, and I did it once. I broke the microphone, and then I've never done it since.
Now, you could reach the bell, one of the rare people here, you and Giannis apparently, who could reach the bell, but here you are outside doing the Gronk spike in front of all of our Flutter fans. That's 25,000 people strong as the parent company of Fanduel, of course, the #1 sports leader for sports betting in the U.S. You're partnered with them. Kick of Destiny is coming up. Good omen, our parlay hit.
Yes.
We won you guys some money. No sweat parlay. Pacheco, Lamar, Kelsey, they all came through for us. When you're watching these games, and I know you flew, you haven't slept barely, what was your thought process watching some of this?
Watching the playoff games, I'm not a part of it anymore, so I'm kind of like a fan of the game now. So I just always want to see a good game that goes down to the wire. Seeing a blowout in the playoffs is not what it's all about for a fan. And just seeing the last two games, that were actually yesterday, those were games that you want to see as a fan. You want to see the scoring back and forth, and then there was defense in both games as well. It was a tale of two halves with the San Francisco-Detroit game, and it's just wild to see comebacks like that. And you got to be able to beat a good team like the 49ers, the Detroit Lions. You have to play 60 minutes of complete football, because the 49ers, they're resilient. They got so many great players. They got so much talent on their team. It kind of reminds me of when, I was part of the team with the Patriots when we came back versus the Atlanta Falcons 28-3. We had so much resilience that we were never just going to give up. And that was same with the San Francisco 49ers, and that's why they came back. Everything did go their way in the second half, but they got enough talent to be able to overcome a deficit like that.
It gave you the 28-3 vibes.
It really did, but just for the NFC Championship game, it definitely had the same type of vibes for sure. Not as quite, to the extent, but just the same type of vibes a little bit.
What have you learned about Brock Purdy? Like, what is the takeaway? Because back-to-back weeks now, I'm saying, I don't think he can come back from this. And then he does.
Brock Purdy has gotten everyone to get off their seats and then have them sit right back down, every single week, week in and week out. People jump on the bandwagon and love him for 4 weeks, and they jump right off the bandwagon. It's pretty impressive what he could do and how he could pull that off. But he had a great game yesterday when it counted, In the second half, when it really mattered the most, he came through, especially with his legs, when he had some of those great runs out of the pockets to get the first down and keep the drives going. So that was pretty unbelievable to see him do that. I mean, he's calm, he's cool, he's collective, and just to see him, you know, in those situations, not, you know, beat up himself, you know, being down like that, and to be able to just come back and not be overthinking and just do what he needed to do, and that's what he did, and that's why they made that comeback.
Controversial decisions by Dan Campbell. You said in the broadcast last night that you were there, that you had no problem with that because it's who he is. He stayed true. I'm thinking about them going forward. The Lions have so much talent. We want them to win a Super Bowl. What's the lesson in this for him?
I do want the Lions to win a Super Bowl eventually. I was cheering for them. You know, I never knew that they never made a Super Bowl, which is pretty wild to me. And just to see that fan base going crazy at Ford Field, I can tell you this: Ford Field was going crazier in Detroit than they were in San Francisco at Levi Stadium. But the Detroit Lions, I mean, Dan Campbell's call, he's a gutsy guy. He's aggressive, and it kind of backfired yesterday because they should have went for that field goal on 4th down, but that's his style, to go for that 4th down. And if they kicked that field goal, it would have been a tie game then. But instead, they were kind of, you know, trying to play catch-up on the onside kick, and the probability of getting an onside kick is so low now that you really don't want to go that way. But they have a young team. They got a great coach. They got guys that want to play for them. They're going to be a great team, and they're going to be contending for a Super Bowl and a championship year in and year out for, I would say, the next couple of years for sure.
San Francisco gets the win. Sam Laporta, bright future. We love him. But Kittle on the other side, we'd like to see him maybe get a piece of hardware, right? We have this incredible clip that I want you to take a look at, even though you can't hear, of the Niners when they, of course, lost to the Chiefs back at Super Bowl 54. Take a look.
I will be back here. I will be back here, and I will be back with vengeance. You will not get the best of me, no sir.
You had a first crack at it back in 2011. Were you saying the same thing?
I was actually saying the same thing for sure when I lost the Super Bowl in 2011. When you lose a Super Bowl, you get even more hungry, especially if you don't have a Super Bowl underneath your belt. And that's what George Kittle was saying. And actually now is going to be a rematch of that Super Bowl that he lost. So if he wants redemption, this is the time for redemption. And George Kittle, he's such an unselfish player. I mean, he only had, 2 catches yesterday for 27 yards. And those catches are are always at some of the biggest moments. But he doesn't get as many targets as he should because there's so many weapons on the 49ers offense. But he never complains. And if you see him play the game of football, he just doesn't contribute in the pass game. Did you see him pancake Aiden Hutchinson yesterday?
I mean, the tight ends had quite a day. Kelsey was throwing blocks like crazy,
yes,
too.
Kelsey was throwing blocks,
and
that's how you win a championship. I really believe you need a legit tight end now on your offense to get to the championship level of play. Tight ends are finally revolutionizing the game. It has started, I would say a couple years back, but it has continued now with many of these, great players like George Kittle and Travis Kelce, and then also, even the teams that lost with Sam Laporta and also Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. So just to see that, it's great for the position. And if you want to win a championship on the offensive side of the ball, you need a solid tight end.
But now, the Ravens had 2 tight ends, as we saw, could not get it done. What happened? What happened with Lamar in this game?
I don't know. I mean, you got to give credit to the Kansas City defense. There's no doubt about that. They came up and they showed, and they got some of the best defensive backs in the game, and they were covering the wide receivers on the Baltimore Ravens pretty well. I mean, after that miracle play by Lamar with the touchdown where he broke out of the pocket, ducked underneath the tackle, and just launched it up to Zay Flowers, that was impressive. But I would say what happened to the Ravens that kind of shifted the momentum was when Zay Flowers accidentally fumbled the ball going into the end zone, and that was the turnover. I would say that was kind of like the hammer into the grave for the Baltimore Ravens.
Do you think Lamar seemed himself, or did it feel like to you watching the moment was effective? The moment had an effect on him?
He seemed himself at the beginning of the game, but then once again, it kind of felt like it affected him. He didn't really get into the groove anymore, and that definitely played a part. And the team depends on Lamar Jackson. If he's not up to par, if he's not playing full speed, the Baltimore Ravens can't win.
I feel like they didn't run enough. There weren't enough designed runs either for him. They didn't stick to the run, and I hated to see that.
They got to stick to the run because that's their main focus of the game. And then they can control the ball. They can get their defense off the field. It was tough to see the Baltimore Ravens defense. I think they were on the field for like 9 minutes at a time on some of the drives. So you got to give credit to the Chiefs as well. They had a great game plan, and they came in to the Ravens' house and beat them, which is pretty incredible. But, the Ravens, they just didn't have their best day of football.
So now I'm thinking about the Chiefs side of things and Travis Kelce and watching all of the extracurriculars after the game with him and his brother and all of that. But there's rumors that this is his last run, right? There's rumors that he's going to hang it up with Jason and they're going to go out together. Do you get that vibe when you're watching this?
I mean, there is definitely a lot of rumors about it. And when there's rumors about it, you know, I would say there's definitely some smoke, you know, and there's some truth to it. I wouldn't say it's fully, true, like what everything's being talked about, but they are at that age where retirement is totally possible. They can retire any given season. I can see it more likely for Jason to retire. I mean, playing center, getting banged up every single play.
He said he's done.
Oh, he said he's done. He actually retired.
I believe so.
No, I don't think he did it officially, but it's pretty much out there.
I thought Jason said he's done.
If Travis goes out and he gets a championship, I can see him retiring. I mean, they're doing great things off the field. They got that podcast together. I mean, it's the #1 podcast in the sports world now. They're doing all the commercials. They got the whole family involved, so it's great to see. And they got a lot of opportunities after the game of football as well. So it's all up to them.
Did you know Tampa, if you won the Super Bowl, that Tampa would be your last one, or were you just because it was kind of tied to Tom, right? Was it something that you knew going into that Super Bowl?
Would be my last season? Mm-hmm. Well, I actually played one more season
I know, but
after
your last, this might be my last Super Bowl. Was that in your head?
No, because I wanted to win one more Super Bowl after, and we had a good shot at it, but we lost to actually the Super Bowl defending champions, the Rams, that year, and that was a good game. But Stafford threw that bomb, and then they kicked the field goal the last second to win the game. But I wanted another Super Bowl even after we won the one.
I just wonder if Travis is going to approach this game any differently. Like, he really is. Something's happened to him in the past 4 weeks. He's just back to being a 25-year-old tight end out there doing this thing.
Yes, he is. He absolutely turned it up a notch, making unbelievable catches. And Patrick Mahomes put it in the spots where only Travis Kelce can make the catches, and that's what he's doing. And that's why they are going to the Super Bowl as well. And I would say, I was talking yesterday, I mean, we were joking around, but I think it was kind of some seriousness to it as well, is that the Kansas City Chiefs, they're always playing in championship games. So when you have regular season games throughout the whole year, you can get bored. Maybe the excitement wasn't there, so they weren't playing up the par. You know what I'm talking about?
That's a good
So now
take.
It's win or lose, and then
They're
you
so
go home.
talented.
So now they have to dial it in, put the launch codes in, and then they came out on fire in the playoffs.
Ait, I actually really like this take. How do these two teams match up?
These teams match up very well, and it's going to be a heck of a Super Bowl because it's a rematch 54, as well of 54, and that was a great Super Bowl as well. In San Francisco, they need this Super Bowl more than definitely the Kansas City Chiefs because they keep going to championship games, but they can't win it all.
The Chiefs want to take out the Patriots as the dynasty.
Exactly.
They have a huge thing on their shoulders, too.
That is exactly true, too, and the Chiefs want to prove that they have a dynasty, and they have to win this game to prove that they have a dynasty as well.
Who do you think has the edge going into the Super Bowl right now? They've got 2 weeks to go back and forth.
I mean, I've been wrong the last 2 weeks on the playoff games.
If you had to pick right now, who do you like?
I'm gonna go with Kansas City Chiefs because they're scrappier. They've been finding ways to win. Yes.
And their defense is so good.
Yes,
I feel like the San Francisco defense, I'm not as into. Okay, let's see. Don't do what Brady did, Travis. There's more to life than football. GRONK and Tom commentating games.
Yes. Tom will be joining the booth next year.
Is this true?
We are excited.
Is he actually
this is true.
Booth?
I think he's going to do a wonderful job. There's no doubt about that. And it's kind of cool because we're getting the band back together because Julian, on the pregame show as well with Fox. I'm on the pregame show. And then hopefully Tom joins us on the pregame show once in a while for Fox. And getting the whole band back together will be a classic.
The producers created a segment for you as we are at the New York Stock Exchange celebrating Flutter being listed today on the U.S. market. But we're going to talk a little buy or sell, okay? So let's do this. Let's talk about what we saw on the field this weekend. He likely won the MVP and led his team to the 1 seed, but buy or sell Lamar Jackson's season is a disappointment.
I'm going to buy that. I think they needed to get to the Super Bowl. There's no doubt about that. Well, being the #1 seed and being a very consistent team this year, that's why I had them winning yesterday because they were so consistent and they were absolutely rocking the socks off of good teams this year as well.
Their defense was so good yesterday.
Yes.
I cannot believe Mahomes couldn't do anything for like 3 quarters. I can't believe they lost this game. Okay, led by Steve Spagnuolo, a guy those 2007 undefeated Patriots remember very well. The Kansas City defense shut down Lamar yesterday. The KC defense is the best unit left in the playoffs. Buy or sell? Or not in the playoffs. The Super Bowl
left.
matchup.
Yeah, left. You know,
what
there's
I'm
only
saying.
2 teams standing. I'm going to buy that. You know, they've been playing lights out. You know, they have shown. I mean, San Francisco, they let up a lot of big chunk plays yesterday on their defense. So
And to love the week before.
Chiefs have the best defense left.
We saw Travis and Taylor on the field. Pretty tame, say my producers. Buy or sell that PDA, like smooching your boyfriend or girlfriend after the Super Bowl, is cool.
It's cool?
Yeah.
I would say it's cool. I mean, you see that with everyone.
Yeah.
I didn't see it after the game because I was doing the pregame show, but just being around a lot of championships, you know, you always see a player and his girlfriend or his wife. They always give a little smooch after a big win.
A little smooch. It played a crucial role in yesterday's Baltimore KC game when Zay Flowers got flagged. Taunting should be legal, buy or sell.
Depends how much taunting there is going on.
His taunting, should that have been flagged?
I didn't see
He was
it.
over the player a little bit.
I didn't see this taunting.
No? Okay.
I didn't see that play.
They got like
exactly.
19.
I missed it.
I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna say it should be legal, and they were so undisciplined yesterday. It was disappointing. We've got one NFL game left. Then we really have to find new things to watch. Buy or sell The Traitors as the best reality show on TV. With it.
I have not seen The Traitors, and I never even heard of it before, but I'm gonna buy it because we're talking about it, so it's gonna be the best show on TV now.
You're the best. Wolf of Wall Street yourself down there through the New York
Yes.
Stock Exchange.
Boom.
Again,
Oh,
we're
boom.
here celebrating.
Oh, boom.
We're here celebrating Fanduel and Flutter doing all things U.S. market. If you want to get involved, invest, there's so much fun in the future. Back on Up and Adams takes over Wall Street, a monumental day for Fanduel, for its parent company Flutter, as we celebrate Flutter being listed on the New York Stock Exchange. We are so honored and excited to be joined by our Fanduel CEO, our boss, Amy Howe is here. How are you?
I'm so good, and it's so good to be here.
What a fun day!
It's been such a fun day.
We have these, but these pale in comparison to what GRONK brought to the table today.
Oh my gosh.
He was just in here, larger than life.
And no sleep at all, too.
No
right? Coming
sleep.
from the West Coast late last night.
What was it like having him
Amazing.
lead these festivities? You guys brought a marching band for
Oh
him
my
to
gosh,
play
it was
with.
so much fun. And by the way, fellow Buffalonians, a little sad that the Bills are not in the
That's
Super
true.
Bowl, but
One
there's
day,
always next
Amy.
year, one day.
That's what the Lions fans
I'm
are
not
also
giving up
saying.
hope. I'm not.
What was it like outside this morning? It was
Oh
unbelievable.
my gosh! You know, it is such a monumental day today to now for Flutter now to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange, the premium exchange in the United States. You know, I think it's a moment of pride and gratitude to look at what collectively we've accomplished in such a short period of time. Right, sports betting has only been legal for a little over 5 years in the U.S., and to think of what Fanduel has done in that time. #1 share of the sports betting market. We were the first operator to be profitable for a full year, which is a huge milestone, right? Not just for Flutter and Fanduel, but for really the entire industry. Our casino business is crushing it right now, going from strength to strength, and you know, in many respects, the best is yet to come.
Yeah, what is this? Let's talk about that, because I think some people are saying, on my Twitter, I'm saying, congrats, Flutter. People are saying, what is Flutter? And I'm saying it's the parent company.
Yeah.
So how does Fanduel benefit from what's going on here today and in the future?
Well, so Flutter, for those who aren't as familiar, is the global leader in online sports betting and igaming, and it's really been, we talk about the Flutter edge, right? Which is Fanduel has had the benefit of decades of great technology and product innovations. Everyone now knows what a parlay, a same-game parlay, player props, all of that came over from markets like UK and Ireland and Australia with our Sportsbet brand. We were able to bring over our risk and trading organization, right? Probably 40% of those individuals came over from other parts of the world. So that Flutter edge has really propelled Fanduel to its #1 position. We came into the market with great recognition already. So to have those two assets together is really powerful. So this gives opportunity for U.S. investors now to get access to the leading U.S. brand.
Which is amazing
exciting.
for us at Fanduel and for Flutter. And this is a big celebration for like 25,000 worldwide global employees of Flutter that are celebrating, been working their butts off trying to get here and make this incredible day everything that it was. I'm so happy to have been a part of it. Now we have the NFL, of course, these crazy games yesterday. GRONK flies in overnight to lead the marching band and the drums.
As only GRONK can do.
As only GRONK can do. Like, we literally stopped Lower Manhattan, which nobody can do. How have the playoffs been for Fanduel?
The playoffs have been phenomenal. So yesterday, during our peak moment, we had 60,000 bets per second, which is just remarkable.
I'm sorry, per
Yeah,
what?
Per second.
Per second. Wow.
That exceeded what we saw last year. So it's been phenomenal. And you see why sports betting has become so popular, because it's created a game within a game, right? I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter what the outcome is. Obviously, it does for many bettors, but people are betting on who's going to score the first touchdown, and who's going to, anytime TD scores. Live betting has become absolutely huge. So there's just Super Bowls upon us in a little less than 2 weeks, and we have over 600 betting markets, which is pretty remarkable to think about. And of course, what do you think? Do you think Robin's going to make or miss the
Everybody,
Pick of Destiny
everybody can pick.
sequel?
Listen, I had John Cena on my show, and he was full stop no. Heel turn, he's going to miss it. That's what his choice was. You can go and download the Fanduel Sportsbook app. Will he make or miss it? You can be a part of $10 million in bonus bets, which is unbelievable. You and I watched him do the first one together. We were like, what? Did he make it? Did he miss it? All
It
this
was terrifying.
high drama. How did Gronk weasel his way into getting a second shot at this? That's what I want to know.
I think the sequel is brilliant, and I personally think he's going to make it.
He has to make it. He's our Gronk. We love him. So we have that to be excited for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Anything else with FanDuel? Just like lots available for people to have fun and be entertained by, of course, while responsibly gaming.
Yeah, and listen, I think that's really important, right? Whether you're a first-time bettor on FanDuel, and we will have lots of first-time bettors, right, who are just engaging for the first time because we still have new states coming online, or you've been with us for 5 years, there's something exciting, right? With over 600 pre-live markets, an unbelievable live market. There's the Super Bowl squares where you can, if you accurately predict the last number of each team's score, you can win. So there's a lot to look forward to, and of course, Rob Gronkowski, Pick of Destiny.
Listen, we won our parlay yesterday. Rob and I did a little combo parlay. We won it for everybody watching the AFC Championship action.
High five on that.
Thank you. High five on that. You have to write a big check this morning, Amy, to a lot of people, our customers.
That's right. We love it. We love it when our customers win.
Over at FanDuel, we have so much to look forward to, not only with Super Bowl, but with other sports. The Derby is happening.
Kentucky Derby.
But for right now, we're going to enjoy this. We're going to enjoy this day of celebration of Flutter being in the U.S. market on the New York Stock Exchange. Amy, I know you were running around like Wolf of Wall Streeting it over here, so enjoy it, and congratulations, and thanks for letting us be a part of it.
Thank you, and thanks to our over 20,000 employees. You said it earlier, but we wouldn't be here without them, and it's a really proud moment for all of us. So.
Well, we wouldn't be number one if it wasn't for you, Amy. So we'll be back after this, more on the conference championship. We got attaboys to give out. Let's dig into what happened with Lamar. What happened to the Lions? Why make that decision? We'll get into it after this. We're at the New York Stock Exchange, baby. This has been such a celebration. Hamilton, I wish you were here. I know that you have to write the show and do all sorts of stuff and preparing for the Super Bowl, but we miss you here. We're having the best time. You can't imagine. Gronk is like one of the only people who can literally shut it down. Like, nobody stops in New York. You know this. We used to work in the financial district. Everyone's stopping to shake Gronk's hand. He's taking pictures. It's unbelievable. The energy's crazy. And there's a lot to celebrate. Flutter is on the U.S. market. And I learned today what that means.
I do have a lot of FOMO right now. I really wish I was there. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We got to talk to Amy Howe, our CEO. There's lots of fun happening here. We are officially listed. It's the parent company of FanDuel. And look at that, Hammy. They put our thing on the big screens.
That is awesome. The celebration has been pretty cool to watch. Getting to see all this footage and the celebration of it all. It's pretty special.
Yeah, Peter Jackson flew in. We've got people from all over the world, from Australia, from Ireland, from our London office. We were so appreciative to Paul and to Kate, of course, to Natalie Lovett, who put this whole thing together. And it's just such a, Deb could have run the world, like FanDuel, and they have it so figured out so incredibly that it's got me really, really excited for the Super Bowl. We do want to give out some attaboys, but you saw Gronk in here. And just to remind everybody, you saw Amy saying, will he make it or he miss it? Gronk, Kick of Destiny, Part 2.
It's no good, he missed it. I don't You ready to do this?
Not yet.
You gotta let it go, Gronk.
But I can't!
There are no second chances in this life. Only second kicks. Let's get to work.
Rob Gronkowski coming back for the Fanduel kick of Destiny 2. Last year he missed. Will he redeem himself? We shall see.
That leg you got is special.
Let's kick some field goals.
This is the redemption kick.
Let's go, one more. Come on, baby, remember what I taught you.
Kick after kick, my leg gets stronger. It's all I think about. People are gonna be picking against you. They want you to miss. What do you want?
Mr. Gronkowski.
I gotta redeem myself.
You're gonna miss, Gronk. They're all out there saying Gronk's gonna miss.
But there's a million more people that want me to make.
And you're acting like some hotshot kicker, dancing around, showing off that leg.
Don't you see, Carl? He's not a kicker anymore. He's a machine.
Looks unstoppable.
I'm making that kick.
Are you ready to make the kick of destiny this time?
He is ready.
America picks. Gronk kicks.
Kick of Destiny 2. Hamilton, we had John Cena on our show. He's a very clear miss. He's not into it. He was full character. It was amazing. Amy, I think she's on the positive side. She's on the make side. I'm undecided. And I'm undecided because he's everywhere. Like, he's doing Tostitos commercials. He's flying across the country on Little Sleep. Like, I feel like these next 14 days have got to be real focused for one Rob Gronkowski to make this thing happen. As we know, kicking isn't easy, Moody.
Yeah, it's true. And I don't know. I'm on the other side of it. Maybe these distractions are good. You don't want to overthink it. You don't want to get in your own head. I remember we had a little field goal competition once where someone was over practicing a little bit, and it didn't necessarily go too well. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, it was an extra point. I had to kick it like 5 yards, and I wore myself out and tuckered myself out with like 3 kicks. But Hamilton told me that would happen, and that's exactly right. Okay, so did I retire Jason Kelce on our show? Did he not say he's done?
There were reports that he told teammates after the game that he's done, but he hasn't, I guess, officially made the announcement yet.
Okay, I thought he did last year and then did a keg stand and said he's coming back for Jalen, and then now it's over. Like, I thought the jig was up. But if I'm wrong on that, Jason Kelce, I, of course, would never mean to retire a GOAT, a Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion. We'll see what happens between he and his brother. It was cool to talk to Rob about all of that, whether or not the approach is different, heading towards another Super Bowl. And, Hammy, I'll talk to you in a minute because I got to give out some attaboys here. We want to start with a guy who we want on the show, L'Jarius Sneed, the Chiefs corner, opening play of the fourth quarter. Zay Flowers makes the catch. Do we have it? Yeah, dives to the end zone. And what does Sneed do but punch it right out of his hands before he crosses the goal line? Unbelievable. What do you think about a play like this, Darius Butler? You're our resident DB. Atta boy?
That a boy?
Okay, here's the deal. If Sneed doesn't make this play, this is a 3-point game with an entire quarter left to go. And I'm not sure Casey wins this game, honestly. This completely crushed any momentum the Ravens had going, and it was a bit of a gut punch, guys. By the way, of course, it was Trent McDuffie scooping it up in the end zone. Fitting that I don't even know if they're emergent anymore, that the best cornerback duo in the league, I said it, they combined for the biggest moment of the entire Chiefs season. Now let's go to the Niners, their opponent from the NFC. We've got Brandon Ayuk. We talk about him all of the time. Hamilton is obsessed with him from the jump from September, and of course he was going to be a difference maker in this matchup. We talked about it during the week. This catch, though, oh my God. This is the moment you start to say, like, oh man, the Niners, they can come back in this. They can come back in this game. They might be able to beat the Chiefs, right, Tori?
Attaboy, let's go!
Oh man, I didn't hear that. I don't know if that even happened. Torrey Smith, Super Bowl champion, of course. Ayuk scores right after this as well to make it a 1-score game. Niners are now 7-0 when he scores a touchdown. We told you that. And they're 6-5 when he doesn't. So he's a huge game changer. And that's probably one of the best catches I've seen ever made on a big stage like this. So hopefully he can do it in Vegas. Now, Tashawn Gibson, guys, my final attaboy is going to go to the Niner who made the play that led to the Niners tying this one up after the Ayuk score I just saw, and that is safety Tashawn Gibson, who was the one that shot into the backfield and stripped the ball away from Jahmyr Gibbs, who's been a revelation at the running back spot in this rookie class for this team, meeting these expectations. I mean, this gave the ball right back to his offense, which is unbelievable. Tashawn Gibson, just incredible. And he also had a huge pass breakup on Sam Laporta later on, and I love the moment for him. The former Pro Bowler on his 5th NFL team, attaboy! And he came so close to a Super Bowl back in 2017 with the Jags, which we love to see when they took the AFC by storm. He's in year 12 now, okay? 12 years in, finally gets his shot at a Lombardi. These are the things we love to see. Other attaboys, Hammer, I'm trying to think of who we missed. I mean, they lost, but Kyle Hamilton deserves an attaboy. I like my favorite Hamilton, you know.
That was the one. I mean, that one series where he basically stopped the Chiefs on a 3-and-out by himself, breaking up a pass, hitting Mahomes, making a tackle for loss in the backfield. He was phenomenal. You mentioned it. That Ravens defense was so good yesterday, and they deserve a ton of credit, even though they didn't come up with the win.
I couldn't hear anything you just said, but here's what I'm going to guess you said it. Literally, this was out. Hold on, this thing was out, and I didn't hear a word you freaking said. But I bet you said something along the lines of, "I've never seen a player back to back to back make plays the way that he did in every way he could possibly make them. Have we ever seen that out of a guy before?" Did you say something along those lines?
That was 100% pretty much exactly what I said. Yeah.
Love that. All right, we have 5 minutes to kill here at the New York Stock Exchange. Hammer, as I mentioned earlier, the line for the Super Bowl over at Fanduel Sportsbook. You just heard Amy Hauer, a brilliant CEO, talk about what's ahead for Fanduel, how much excitement there is for Super Bowl, how many bets were placed per minute on America's #1 leader in the sports gaming space. But the line's already moving. It opened at 2.5 in favor of the Niners. That spread is down to 1.5, okay? So we already have some early Super Bowl lines. We have some props over at Fanduel Sportsbook. So let's dig into a couple of these. We'll graze them lightly. Let's look at Mahomes. Plus 130, Purdy at plus 200, and CMC at plus 430. Those are the three favorites. What jumps out to you there, my friend?
I mean, you have to like McCaffrey there with that return, with the way he's been playing in these playoffs. You know he's going to score at least one touchdown. If the Niners are able to win, I don't know, early thoughts. I kind of like that return from him at plus 430.
Okay, I like that. I can't believe it's Purdy versus Mahomes in a rematch of Super Bowl 54. Do you have one for me that you liked over at the Sportsbook while I was shaking hands and kissing babies here on Wall Street?
Yeah, there are a bunch of fun ones that they have up already, too, some specials. So one for you. Any non-quarterback to throw a touchdown is plus 4,000 right now. Do we like that?
Plus 4,000? Yes, we like that. And I mean, would I like to say that I think Ayuk could do it. I think Debo could do it. But CMC, let us not forget, CMC threw a touchdown in his first start as a Niner after the greatest in-season trade in NFL history. Who said that? We did. And it was, listen, the Chiefs do all that weird stuff at the goal line. They had Pacheco line up at quarterback yesterday. We're on high alert, I think, with the non-quarterback trickeration going on at those odds over at FB Sportsbook. I like it. All right, Hammer, I'm going to give you another one. An offensive lineman to catch a touchdown is plus 8,500.
I actually really like this one. Trent Williams is playing in his first Super Bowl, as we know, and as you also know, I'm sick. And when I saw this prop, I actually looked it up this morning. He has one career target. It was against the Jags a couple of years ago. I remember that Jimmy Garoppolo tried to force it to him in double coverage. Didn't work out, but wouldn't that be something to see maybe the greatest left tackle of all time get a shot to catch one in a Super Bowl? Love that one.
I would love that. I hope we get Debo this week. Do you have another one?
Yeah, I got one more for you. So There are some that are a little bit triggering in these specials. If you're a Niners fan, they have these bets that they call Super Bowl 54 repeats. And one of them is the Niners to get shut out in the fourth quarter again, like they did in Super Bowl 54. That's a plus 380 right now. What do you think about that?
I mean, this is like very triggering if you're a Niners fan. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay. The Niners to get shut out again in the fourth quarter? Listen, maybe in the first quarter, the second quarter, they're facing an NFC North team, but after what we've seen from Brock and the Niners offense the last 2 weeks, I know why you asked me this one, because you think I lost faith in Brock during the game yesterday. And that's what you're trying to get to, you weasel. You're trying to get down to the point of me saying, can he come back from this? I don't know if he can come back for this. Did I take NyQuil at halftime? Maybe. This is a totally different group. I don't know if they win this game, but I think we'll see some action in the fourth quarter that hopefully is on Brock and not on the kicker. Your big takeaways from yesterday, obviously Ravens, Lamar, nothing but disappointment there. Did you have a take on Dan Campbell and the not kicking this field goal to go up 3 scores? What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough because it has been the Lions' identity all year. This is what they do. They go on those fourth downs. So it's hard to say he should have just changed his approach. You don't want to see that in a big game. You want to see a coach stick with what's been successful for him all year. But at the same time, as I'm watching it, and not in hindsight, when you have a chance to kick a field goal that puts you up 3 scores, to me, you have to take that 3-score lead, that one that would have put him up 17. The other one, when the field goal would have tied, I liked that going for that one because you're going to need to score a touchdown to beat the Niners there, and that's it, once it got to that point. But the one that I really look at is the one that would have put him up 17. You got to take that opportunity to go up 3 scores.
Yeah, I think you can be aggressive and have the balls to do whatever, but it doesn't have to be every time. You have to also have the discipline to not be so absolute and make those in-game decisions. And I know he said he didn't regret it, but he's going to think about that for a long time. Bright future for both squads who lost yesterday, and we are looking ahead at, of course, the Super Bowl 58 in Vegas between the Niners and the Chiefs, rematch of Super Bowl 54, and we're looking ahead to a bright future with Flutter on the New York Stock Exchange from New York.